Well, Madam Chairman, committee members, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. I am Susan Grettenberger, and I'm speaking in opposition to House Bills 4188, 4189, and 4190. I'm a licensed social worker. I'm a professor and a director of the social work program at Central Michigan University, and I'm also the vice president of social policy from the National Association of Social Work here in Michigan. And today I'm speaking on behalf of the NASW-Michigan. These three House bills violate professional requirements of social workers who work in the types of agencies covered under these bills, and the bills have the potential to harm children who rely on the unbiased and objective social workers for their services. It would allow an organization to legally refuse services, legally refuse to serve people based on religious values, regardless of the harms done to the children in their care. The profession of social work, including our state licensure, is grounded in non-discrimination. Social workers enter the profession with the understanding that ethical obligations to serve all clients supersede personal beliefs and preferences. Social workers and agencies choosing to discriminate under the proposed legislation, or even required to, will be required to violate social work values and ethical standards, placing themselves in a position of risking their licensure here in the state of Michigan. Social workers cannot all simply work elsewhere. Social workers are specifically trained in skills that are necessary for competent, effective child welfare work and represent a large portion of the child welfare workforce. While we have considerable respect for our colleagues in other professions, if social workers refuse to work at faith-based agencies, the quality of care available to children in foster care and eligible for adoption could be compromised, or there simply will not be enough workers available for those agencies. Proponents of this legislation focus on how it will affect the prospective adoptive parents and suggest they go to another agency that will complete their adoptions. Make no mistake, discrimination against anybody doesn't fit with because they don't fit with an agency's values is a problem. But equally, if not more importantly, to me, this is about the children who need a forever home and who do not have the option of going to another agency to find a new family. Already removed from the family they know, now their options for adoption are limited as well. When the only private agency, and perhaps the only agency offering foster care for children in areas such as rural or northern Michigan, may be faith-based and therefore would be permitted to discriminate in this way, what will happen if those agencies are allowed to turn away parents who could offer the good homes that the children in their care need? Limiting the available families in any area is bad for the children who need them. And coincidentally, within the past hour, I talked to a person that I know is a foster parent who said that they have friends who are also foster parents, a gay male couple who took a teenage gay child into their care recently because that child had been refused services by foster families. So this opens up the door for discrimination and for children such as this child to have nowhere to go as well. This legislation is clearly intended to allow faith-based adoption agencies to refuse to work with gay and lesbian parents. Special needs children, older children of color who are in a sibling group are difficult to place. Older, special needs children of color who are in a sibling group can be nearly impossible to place in a foster home and later in an adoptive home. Yet many gay and lesbian families have done just that, starting out as foster parents. I know many such parents, some of whom have as many as 5 or 6 children in their care, and adopted children at this point. I happen to be one of them, with 4 adopted children myself. Paul, Ephraim, and Tony, with only 18 months separating them, came first on the day that they were removed from their home. One of their sisters came a few months later. In fact, Ashley's here with me today, sitting on the aisle there. The kids were 8, 9, and 10 that first day. I happened to talk just yesterday to their protective services worker, the person who actually removed them from the home. She said to me yesterday she thought 1 or more of the kids would have been dead had they not been removed and had they not ended up in our home. Instead, now in their mid-20s, 3 of them are done with college. All 4 of them are smart, funny, talented, compassionate human beings. Where would my kids be today if they had been placed in an agency that would not put children in a home that violated its religious convictions. I cringe thinking about that. I honestly do. They can't imagine where they would be. We've talked about this. Separated from each other, would they have been moved from foster home to foster home? Would they have run away as their older sister did because she wasn't in a home where she could stay? Instead, they thrived. They thrived. We even sent them to church camp every summer for a number of summers with up to 8 of their cousins. My brother's 17 children are a whole other adoption story, but I'm a social worker who happens to be a gay adoptive parent. I'm also an active Christian raised by a minister and a teacher. I cannot imagine using my identity as a Christian or as a gay person to discriminate, to refuse services to someone who violated my religious beliefs. This is both professional and personal for me. Discrimination against people violates social work professional ethical standards, Christian values of tolerance, and my own human recognition that people cannot be measured by one dimension of their identity, and we should not allow discrimination on that basis. We could talk about many things. The professional impact of these bills, the economic impact. Some people estimate it could cost millions of dollars to the state to have these additional children who stay in foster care longer than they otherwise would. But what we really should talk about is the children, because they are what's most important. I think we all know that. These bills will harm children, even though that's not the intention. They would make it harder for children who are already hurt and in need of a loving, supportive home to get that home, because they don't get to pick what agency works for them. Thank you for your time.
Right, thank you. Appreciate being here.